Personal identity. Treat others the way you'd like to be treated. The golden rule. It was hanging up on many of my blackboards, above them, rather, as a child growing up in school. And let me tell you, I believe in it, honestly, and for no other reasons. In fact, in a secular kind of a way, I think it's a very positive statement. And so, thanks for watching the videos. I really appreciate it. We're talking about personal identity. And going back to that example I opened up with, there was also a similar sign hanging up in all the blackboards and all the elementary school that I had attended, and it said something like, had a picture of some jeans, of some kids wearing some jeans, and it said, in 20 years, will the jeans that you wear determine the person that you become? And this was reflective at the time because there was this huge ad campaign going on for Janko jeans. This is how old I am, JNCO. And there were these jeans that had these huge pockets. And anyways, everybody wanted them, including me, but I never got a pair of Jankos because I couldn't have them. My parents, I think, thought they looked too outlandish in their opinion at that time or whatever. But anyways, yeah, personal identity is, and to not get Freudian about it, right? Let's not go there in terms of the identity of the self and the ego conversation, so much as the personal identity, and so much as the fact that all of us have unique characteristics, and oftentimes to an unfortunate results, they're suppressed. And I never quite could understand why people would want to suppress other people's identification traits in terms of how that person identifies is how that person is. And it's better to enforce that and empower that individual than it is to demean and or critique that individual based on our own perspective. And so never compromise your personal identity. I know this is tough, and a lot of times these conversations are just inherently towards younger people, in that older people, I've learned, are hard to get across as far as any kind of real big change. And that could come either, as one could perceive it as being either good or bad, but that's where I'm kind of aiming with that, in terms of trying to build self-confidence within yourself, to not compromise. What's right is right and what's wrong is wrong, and that will never change. It will never change. What is wrong now will be wrong in 100 years. What is right now will be right in 100 years. There is only right or wrong in some instances. Very few times are things truly gray. And even in those situations, it's important to observe and always lean on a shade of, on the side of chance, or on the side of safety, right? And so you understand also that when you're growing up as a young adult in your early 20s, mid 20s or whatever, we're told, especially because I'd argue we live in a kind of a toxic masculinity sort of a world, where there are a lot of self-proclaimed gurus trying to push stuff out, especially onto young men and just young people in general. And the problem with that is that it doesn't acknowledge the fact that, as stereotypical as some things are, human being core traits are not. And so it's okay to cry. It's okay to cry, guys. It's okay to cry, girls. It's okay to cry, people. It's okay to have an appropriate response for a situation that requires such. I'd also even argue that it's in all of our best interest to grieve when that's appropriate. That could be either from the loss of a loved one, to the ending of a relationship, to the ending of a career. I really think that it's important to acknowledge our feelings and to address our feelings appropriately, not to mask them or learn to cope with them as a result of us masking that particular thing. But again, I think it's really important to never compromise yourself. again, as your personal identity goes. I know that giving up often is hard because we want to conform. I want to conform too. I want to be liked. I want to have friends. That's a normal human being instinct. But sometimes conformity can be at our own detriment. It can cost us more than we receive. And that's the world we currently live in. And I don't quite understand why so many of us continue to conform to such ideas that are just backwards and lack the kind of equitable allocation that it requires for everyone to have a fair chance at living a decent, peaceful, and prosperous life, you know? And so, again, don't be afraid to be yourself and never lose who you are for absolutely anyone or anything. I am absolutely convinced of this.